All right, let's talk about the IELTS speaking test. We all know it's a huge deal, right? Super stressful, and I think for most of us, the number one fear is getting a question where your mind just goes blank. Well, guess what? We're going to fix that right now.
You know, there's one little phrase that you have got to get rid of. I don't know. I mean, saying that's like telling the examiner, I give up. It just shuts down the whole conversation. And it basically screams, I can't handle this. But what if you really don't know the answer? That's the tricky part. And that's exactly what we're going to break down here.
So, look, there are two common traps that pretty much everyone falls into. Trap number one, you get a tough question, totally out of left field, and you just freeze, blank slate. Trap number two is when you do have something to say, but you fall back on really simple words, like saying very good for, well, everything. These two little habits, they're what can hold you back from getting the score you really want.
Okay, so here's the secret. This is the one thing you absolutely have to understand. It's not a knowledge test. Let me say that again. It is not a knowledge test. The examiner, honestly, they don't care if you're an expert on your country's economy or environmental policy. They're not grading what you know.
So you're probably asking, well, what are they testing then? It's this. It's all about your communication skills. Can you speak fluently? Can you be flexible in how you think about things? And, maybe most importantly, can you keep a natural, easygoing tone even when you're under pressure? That's the real test.
Yep, that's the whole game. It's about how you say something, not what you know. And once that clicks, it's like a huge weight is lifted off your shoulders, right? The pressure to find the perfect answer just vanishes. Now you can focus on what really matters, showing off your amazing language skills. So let's build the toolkit you need to do exactly that.
Okay, here we go. This is your first toolkit. We've got 5 steps here, and they're specifically designed to take that moment of pure panic and turn it into a chance to impress. So instead of awkward silence, you're going to have these simple, natural phrases that just keep the conversation flowing and make you sound super confident.
All right, tool number one. This one's a classic and for good reason. The second your mind goes blank, you just say, that's an interesting question. Seriously, this phrase is your best friend. It buys you a few precious seconds to actually think. It's polite, it sounds totally natural, and it completely avoids that awful, score-killing silence.
And check this out. You can make it even better. By adding, I've never really thought about it before, you're not just pausing anymore. You're turning that pause into what looks like deep, genuine reflection. So the examiner isn't seeing someone who's panicking, they're seeing a thoughtful person who's genuinely considering a new idea. It's a brilliant little trick, really.
Here's another great one that makes you sound really mature. Saying, I haven't really considered that, that's not a weakness, it's actually a huge strength. It shows the examiner you're not just going to blurt out any old answer. You're a reflective speaker. You're showing that you get that the question has some depth to it.
And the real magic here is what comes next. You add something like, but maybe it depends on the person. See what you did there? You just gently steered the conversation towards something you're more comfortable talking about. It's a super clever way to take back a little control without anyone even noticing.
Okay, let's be real. Some questions are just complex. There's no simple answer, and the examiners know that. So to show them you can handle that kind of complexity, your go-to phrase is, it's hard to say but. As soon as you say that, you're signaling, hey, I get it, this isn't black and white. It tells them you're about to give a balanced, thoughtful answer, which is a huge sign of a flexible thinker.
And look at this example. It's perfect. They ask you about social media, which could be a total minefield, but this response, it just opens the door perfectly for a structured pros and cons answer. Now you can easily talk about one good thing and one bad thing, and boom, you're showing off a wider range of vocabulary and grammar. So smart.
Now, remember, you've got to keep things relaxed and conversational. And a fantastic way to do that is with this little gem, I'm not sure, but I guess. Just adding that phrase makes you sound less like you're giving a rehearsed speech and more like you're just having a chat. It takes the pressure off and just sounds so much more natural.
I mean, just listen to how that rolls off the tongue. You're not pretending to be an expert, right? You're just offering a guess, a thought. And that means you can give your opinion without feeling like you have to defend it as the gospel truth. It just keeps everything moving along so smoothly.
All right, our last tool for this section is just beautiful in its simplicity. Starting your answer with, well, it might be, is just such a natural way to start speculating. And that little word, well, at the beginning, it's gold. It makes everything you say after it sound more authentic and way less like you memorized it.
See?
It's just a fantastic way to launch into a sentence. You sound confident, but you're also making it clear that you're just offering one possible reason, not some hard fact. It's simple, it works, and honestly, it just sounds good. A perfect end to our first set of tools.
Okay, so now you know exactly how to handle those tough questions when your mind goes blank. So let's move on to trap number 2, that basic vocabulary. It's time to level up your language, really wow the examiner, and finally move on from saying very good all the time.
I mean, just look at the difference. On one side, you've got very good. It works, but it's basic. On the other side, you have words that show you've got variety, you've got precision, you have a much better handle on the language. This is how you start climbing into those higher band scores.
Let's do a quick run-through. So, instead of very good, why not try excellent? Simple swap. If something is even better, go with outstanding. If you want to describe something that really catches your attention, use remarkable. Want to sound a little more classy? Superb. And for something that just completely blows your mind, phenomenal. Easy.
Okay, let's bring this all together now. What you have is a complete strategy. You've got tools for those moments when you're stuck, and you've got tools for when you want to show a strong opinion using really impressive words. This is your complete toolkit for communication.
And there you have it. This is basically your cheat sheet to sounding fluent. Over here, you've got your 5 lifelines for when you get a tough question. And over here, your 5 powerful upgrades for when you have a strong opinion. These 10 little phrases, they're your ticket to sounding confident, natural, and totally ready for that band 7 score or higher.
And really, the big takeaway here is this. You don't need to go out and memorize a dictionary tonight. It's not about learning hundreds of new words. The biggest, most meaningful improvements come from making small, smart changes to the words you're already using.
So I'm going to leave you with a question. Don't just, click away and forget all this. I want you to pick one word from our list today. Just one. What is the very first word you're going to use to replace very good? Pick it and start there.